we do have some updates on the pass rusher situation as we get towards free agency starting next week. All right, so the big news yesterday, and I hate to have to say this, but it's another feather in Hugh Douglas's cap of, defense to luxury, not a necessity, because the Cincinnati Bengals have told one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, Trey Hendrickson, off of 17.5 sacks last year, as Hugh, they try to pay 2 wide receivers. They said, hey, Trey, go find a place to be traded to. They're willing to move on from Trey Hendrickson. Hugh, your reaction to that, and do you want the Eagles to go after Trey?
How many sacks did he have last year, Joe?
17.5.
17.5 sacks on a team that didn't make the playoffs because they didn't have what?
Defense. And he was second in Defense Player of the Year. He's
Yes.
really good.
That is telling.
Yep.
I'm not going to gloat about this because I think that, we are at the point now where some people understand what I'm saying. Some will never get it, so that's fine. They'll never understand what I was saying when I said what I said. That's fine. I would go get him. Probably going to be a lot cheaper than getting a Myles Garrett and a productive player for that matter. And I'll say this because I'm a little bit of a forward thinker when it comes to stuff like this. The fact that you rewarded Shayshawn Broccoli and you just paid the bald eagle. You just paid both of those guys, Zach Bond. This is an attractive place to land.
Sure.
This is because they're probably going to give you an incentive-laden deal.
We got you there.
Where you can get every dollar that you want. And on top of that, if you sign a 1-year deal, you outperform it, you could potentially get some more money. So, yeah, I think you go out and you get that guy. And it puts us in a situation where, if he plays well, he'll get rewarded.
So I would take him. I would love to have him. He's a really good player. Now, he is on the older side.
A little bit older.
And you know me with older players. I'm always afraid they're going to fall off. Now, but here's why I'm into this, though. I don't think the payment in terms of a trade is going to be huge because he's going to want a new contract and he's older. Like the latest reporting out there is they're looking for a late second or early third round pick. If that's all it takes to get Trey Hendrickson, I will take my chances that he's got a few good years left. And boy, he's a late bloomer. His first 3 years in the NFL, he had 6.5 total sacks when he was a Saint. His last year with the Saints in 2020, he started to break out. And then with the Bengals, in 4 years, he has 57 sacks. Back-to-back 17.5 sack seasons. 4 straight Pro Bowls, all pro last year, second Defensive Player of the Year. He's an outstanding player. I think he'd be a nice fit here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and like a feather in Hugh's cap all you want.
The
Bengals are about to find out soon that their quarterback was a luxury when he asks out after all this nonsense. I mean, this is this is a stupid move by the Bengals.
I mean, it's the move that a lot of teams are going to make around this time because they got to offense. They're going to pay those guys. They're going to look out for the offensive players because this is an offensive league.
But this is the formula the Bengals have had, and it's failed them. It's why they went 9-8 last year because they're not valuing defensive players.
When you looked at Burrow's
they're
season,
finding out it's a necessity.
When you looked at Burrow's
real time.
season last year, he had a season that you put up against any quarterback. His season, when other guys have had that, they've won the MVP, they've won 14 games. Their defense was so bad. I'm shocked they're doing this. I'm shocked they're.
It's dumb.
It seems
dumb.
He's the one guy that can play defense for their team, and they're willing to move on. It is a weird feather in Hugh's cap. But that's why I kind of need him here because then it's going to be tough for Hugh to gloat. Because if the Eagles trade for him, that means the Eagles,
that's then a feather in our cap.
I hate when friends listen to the show because I got some friends that are listening like right now, and they was like, "Dang, dog, that word effed you up." Hey, thanks a lot, Rich. Thanks a lot, Rich. I appreciate you.
Sure.
This is because they're probably going to give you an incentive deal. You going to replay it right now in real time. That's what you do? Okay, fire. Y'all just mad because I be dropping these gems on the show and you just want to try to keep me humble. Ain't nothing going to keep me humble.
It's a gem, all right.
All right, so we're in on the Hendrickson thing.
It's Friday.
Yeah, it is. It is. 215-592-9494. We need your documentaries for a try-day, your take on Slay. Do you want it back?
Forget you, Rich. How about that?
And no, Rich, get him. Also, we got to play this, Hugh, because there's an update on the Myles Garrett situation. Do we have the Myles Garrett stuff, NFL Network? Our NFL Network this morning, speaking on the latest report on Myles Garrett. This is a wild twist to the story. Latest on Garrett from NFL Network.
So here's what happened. Garrett reached out to Jimmy Haslam, requested a meeting with the owner, according to Tom Pelissero's sources, and Haslam said no. Now, my understanding is the reason that Haslam said no here is we know what the issues are. We know about the communication between your agent and Andrew Berry, our general manager, and our organization, the communication both sides. You need to go to Andrew Berry on this. And Haslam does, full trust in Berry to handle this situation, and basically redirected Garrett and his agent to Berry in this situation, saying, you're not going to go around the general manager and come to me to get this thing done. So this one is going to be a standoff. That's going to take a while. We've been saying that from the beginning. This is something that could last through the spring, into the summer, perhaps into the regular season. We'll see where it goes. But the Browns have made it clear they're not interested in trading Myles Garrett. They're not interested in having conversations about trading Myles Garrett with other teams. And Jimmy Haslam's not interested in having a conversation with Garrett about the situation that doesn't include the general manager, Andrew Berry.
All right, Hugh, before we get to all this hour, 94 WIP is fueled by Sunoco 94 Octane. If you demand peak performance from your vehicle, then nothing less than Sunoco 94 Octane will do. Treat your car to 94 only at Sunoco. Hugh, your reaction to that story where the Browns owner was, Myles Garrett requested a conversation with him, and he said, nope, talk to the GM.
Plays into everything that I said, Joe. Nobody wants to have those tough conversations. What would it have done? How would it have hurt you to sit there and say that to him as a man? Hey, man, hey, Myles, I understand how you feel, bro. I'm going to let the GM handle this. I understand you want to leave, but we don't want you to leave.
You're under contract?
And you're under contract, but he is the general manager, and y'all have to sort it out. It's a cowardly move, in my opinion. Like I said, nobody wants to be confronted. Nobody wants that confrontation anymore. They want to hide behind Twitter posts, and they want to say little slick stuff, on social media, and then when you get in the room, wonder why somebody want to punch you in the face because you saying slick stuff. But that's how it is, man. Instead of getting on the phone and be like, "Yo, dog, what's up? What's the problem?
Yeah.
We got beef?"
You would think the owner would feel compelled to take a meeting with one of the greatest players the franchise
Hall
ever
of
had.
Fame player.
Yeah, I mean the Browns don't have much they could be proud of. Myles Garrett as a player is something they could be very proud of. He's been one of their best players ever. So that struck me. But Hugh, the other thing that hit me listening to Mike Garafolo there, I wrote these words down as he said it. Ready? Standoff, spring, summer, maybe into the regular season. The more the Myles Garrett thing plays out, I'm going to put it this way. I'd be shocked if the Eagles trade for Myles Garrett next Wednesday when we're at Birds Town Hall. I just don't think it's going to happen. But, Hugh, I think there's a chance the Eagles, if they're patient in this, are the last team standing. And what I mean by this is, a lot of these teams are desperate, right? The Buffalo Bills feel desperate to me. They're on the cusp, but they need to get it done. I could see them trading for Trey Hendrickson tomorrow. The Commanders have a lot of cap room. They just released Jonathan Allen. They're going to have more cap room. I could see the Commanders next week signing Josh Sweat for a lot of money. Like, all these teams feel like they're going to try to do something big next week. You know who I could see hiding in the weeds just waiting?
The Eagles.
The Eagles, because they're not desperate. They just won the Super Bowl. They don't have to do anything. But if everybody else, like if the game of musical chairs, everyone spends their money, spends their draft picks, goes through the draft, drafts players, the Eagles might just sit back and say, all right, Browns, if you finally decide to move him, give us a call. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't get traded this spring. It lingers. He holds out of camp. The Commanders sign someone. The Bills sign someone or drafted someone. And then the Eagles are sitting there in summer, and Howie calls Andrew Berry and says, hey, if you got to move him, I'll listen. Like, I think this actually helps the Eagles, but this is not going to happen tomorrow. The Browns seem dug in that they're going to make him wait on this.
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. I think the Browns, they don't realize it now, but they need a win. They're about to take a bath on their quarterback.
they already are. They're taking a bath.
They're about to take a bath on that, Joe. And if I'm not mistaken, the push to put that new stadium in the suburbs ain't working out in their favor. The fans are not happy about that. So they need, and I know Myles Garrett leaving. I think most Cleveland fans, because I got friends in Ohio, they're not mad at him for wanting to leave.
Oh, they're mad at the team.
They're mad at the team for building a team around him that has put him in a position where he wants to leave. So I don't think they're mad at him. So they need to get a win somewhere. So I think that the Commodores, they're probably going to be the ones that push the envelope Because at some point, the further we get into this and we realize that Myles Garrett is not coming back, they're going to have to do something. I don't think this lingers. And I think that the Commodores are going to be that team that's going to be waiting in the weeds. They're going to be the ones that they're going to be aggressive in their approach. I wouldn't be surprised if they wouldn't give up, the first round draft pick to get him. And I just saw on here that they just let Jonathan Allen.
They did. Yep.
They just let him go. So yeah, they're going to be the ones. They see an opportunity, and I tell you what, man. The one thing I know about those Commodores fans, and I know for a fact that if they get Myles Garrett, my phone gonna be blowing up and they're gonna be chirping.
Yeah, that's when you put those people on silent. You don't answer that phone.
Chirping.
You ignore
talking
that call.
about that.